From markets to innovation, Africa in Business with Thami Ngubeni covers it all. With Africa's future in focus, Channel Africa, the African perspective.
We turn our focus now to the latest developments coming out of Tanzania, where the government has issued a directive prohibiting non-citizens from owning and operating businesses across 15 specific sectors, which include retail trade, mobile money services, and local tour guiding. A policy signed by the Minister for Industry and Trade, Selemani Saidi Jafo, aims to safeguard opportunities for local entrepreneurs and impose hefty fines and potential imprisonment for those who violate this ban. For more on this, we joined on the line by SABC News correspondent in Tanzania, Daniel Kijo. A very good afternoon to you, Daniel. Good to have you with us. Perhaps give us an idea as to what exactly it is that brought this directive about. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Thank you so much for having me. And indeed, it is a directive that has created quite a stir in the East African region. Basically, the government has banned foreign nationals from engaging in about 15 key business sectors. And the move that the government says is aimed at basically empowering local entrepreneurs and protecting small-scale enterprises. And of course, the restrictions are in line with part of the country's investment code and national development priorities. Obviously, the directive covers areas such as retail, trade, transportation, real estate brokerage, mobile money operations, food vending, and beauty salon sectors, traditionally seen as easy access entry for small-scale investors. Now, our officials have argued that foreign participation in these areas undermine opportunities for Tanzania, especially the youth and women in the informal economy. It has insisted that the policy does not impact medium or large-scale foreign investors who remain welcomed in sectors such as manufacturing, infrastructure, tourism, etc. But of course, the announcement has created backlash.
And talking about this backlash, and in the 15 sectors that have been highlighted and that have been put under this directive, do we have an idea as to exactly what percentage of those businesses are actually owned by non-citizens? How widespread will the impact of this directive be?
Well, it is far-reaching because it has regional impacts due to some of the approaches with the East African community. But I'll start first of all with what the critics say. Most of them have warned that it will backfire and it will deter small foreign investors and could also fuel trade tensions, like I said, within the East African region. Business analysts say the policy may also complicate efforts to harmonize investment, laws and mobility within the East African region. Because the idea for the East African region is to have a bloc, right, and have a single market, which is considered one of the key pillars to long-term regional economic growth for the region. In terms of exactly the scope or ratio of these businesses, I don't really have the data here, but it definitely has spurred some impact with some neighbors like Kenyans also feeling like they also should create or take retaliatory measures against Tanzania for that. Diplomats and chambers of commerce within the East African region are reportedly seeking clarification on exactly how the ban will be enforced and whether the current already foreign-owned businesses in the affected sectors will be allowed to continue operating, and if so, for how long. But of course, officials maintain that the enforcement will be gradual and involve sensitization campaigns to ensure a smooth transition and prevent disruptions.
And how will authorities actually police this? How are they going to ensure that the restrictions that they're putting in place are actually going to be adhered to? I'm thinking of the type of penalties, perhaps, that they are wanting to impose on the foreigners.
Yeah, so this is where I think many of the questions that businesses have in terms of what exactly will it look like, this enforcement policy. We know that there are a lot of foreign nationals from all over East Africa and Tanzania, as well as and other parts of the world, like Chinese small-scale traders, who traditionally were seen as major investors in the country. Now, the implementation is what everybody is trying to find out on exactly what will be done and how the execution of this ban will be done. What we do know is that they have been discussions of even imprisonment for those who will, sort of ignore this ban and continue to want to, to trade when the ban is in effect.
Let's look at this, Daniel, from the perspective of the Tanzanian government as well as the citizens of Tanzania. How have the citizens received this and how are they due to benefit?
Yeah, so let me just give you a little more context before I answer that. The law, or some of the regulations that are speculating, is that a foreigner who is conducting businesses that have been banned is liable to a fine of up to 10 million Tanzanian shillings, which is about $4,000. And of course, if it is a Tanzanian helping these foreigners who are doing this business, would face a imprisonment of 3 months in prison, is additionally a fine of $5 million. So it's a very sort of serious issue that the government is implementing here. But without very clear methodologies, some people feel like the announcement has come premature, and there's still a lot of questions that need to be answered.
As we're speaking, I'm reminded of a situation that currently exists in South Africa, where South African citizens would very much, in many instances, welcome what the government of Tanzania has done. There is some conflict with, foreign nationals or non-citizens owning what we call spaza shops. These are, small informal shops that are found within the townships, and locals saying that those really need to be ring-fenced for the citizens. So something that the Tanzanian government is doing in this regard. But Daniel, Kijo, thank you very much for that update. What then is the way ahead now that this has been made official?
Well, they have been, again, there's a lot of questions left, but it is not something that's uniquely, sudden, or a discussion that is out of the blue. Over the last year or so, there have been some trade tensions between Kenya and Tanzania. There have been import bans of certain products across the border, products being, getting spoiled on the border while waiting to cross. There have been issues of Chinese merchants in Kariakoo, which is Tanzania's biggest market, facing backlash from local traders because usually the marching guys or the hawkers, street hawkers, or maybe the lowest level, smaller scale of businesses used to sell small items, and now that itself has been invaded, perhaps, if you like, by Chinese national and other national from Malawi and Zimbabwe. So there could be, obviously, we're hoping it doesn't become a situation like we've seen in Southern Africa and other parts of the world, because Tanzania historically has not had such experiences. However, it seems like there's a sense of protectionism from the Tanzanian government on its locals and to grow its own economy in the face of, again, a conflicting perception of regional integration and single market direction. So it is a bit confusing.
Daniel, Kijo, thank you very much for that update coming to us from Tanzania, SABC News correspondent. Taking us to exactly 4:30 Central African time. Let's head over now to the markets desk where Thabiso Lehoko is standing by with your latest market indicators.